Hello class, it's Mrs. Durst, and today we are going to learn about chalk pastels. They are gorgeous. Oh, wait till you see them up close. They are so bright, and as you know, chalk lays down a lot of color. It is a little messy though, so I have on my painting clothes. I have a mat ready to collect all the dust that will occur. And I have a paper towel just to keep my hands from getting really yucky. Also, you want to make sure that as you don't want to do any of this brushing action. That's kind of a habit that when we're coloring, we brush. Try not to do that because it will just smear your chalk and it may not be the effect you're looking for. So today we're all going to do some practice and we're going to learn 5 techniques of chalk pastels that we can eventually work into our beautiful bug project. So my glue is completely dry. It's harder than a rock, and that's what you want, super dry glue. Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera around so that we can do some chalk pastels. Oh, look how gorgeous these are. I mean, it's like a stained glass window right there on my tray. So I'd like you to situate your black strip of paper horizontally, and we're going to work from left to right so that we're not rubbing in our chalk with our hand, okay? So the first thing we are going to learn is called blending. Blending, and it is my favorite technique in chalk pastels. I enjoy blending, and you can blend 2, 3, 4 colors together with chalk, and they blend so pretty. So let's see, I'm going to take a yellow and I'm going to rub in, or this is like an orangey yellow. I'm going to rub in my chalk pastel, and then I'm going to take another color like this really crazy bright reddish orange and rub next to it into the black paper, okay? And then I take my finger and I blend these together. And look what you get. You get this crazy looking, oh, just beauty. And then after I've blended these colors kind of together, you want to go back and add a little color to kind of spruce it up because you've kind of blended it to a duller color. So go in with a second coat, and then you can tap, tap, tap and blend even more. But you end up with this really, and I'm going to show you right up close here, really neat effect called blending. And you might say, well, what happens if I put a little more on there? And I'm going to just put like a light yellow in between here. And you can really make different effects in your coloring with this chalk. Our second technique, oops, see, I'm smearing stuff everywhere, is called little strokes. So I'm going to use this green chalk pastel, and it's coloring in with these tiny little strokes. Cha 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 cha. I'm coloring in little strokes, but you can still see the black paper behind. So I'm going to do a little green, and then I'm going to go in with some dark green, and that starts to make a new color. Little strokes, and then I'm going to take this like cool turquoise and a little stroke in that, and it just creates this textured look. And I'm going to bring that up to you to see that. It's really pretty. I wish you could see it, but it looks like an interesting texture with the little strokes, where this is more of a solid color finish. This feels like it might be bumpy if you touched it, okay? So that's little strokes, blending little strokes. Now we are going to do a feathered, it's called a feathered blend. And that's when you use, let's say you want something to go from light to dark. You want it to look like it's shaped. So you would use a dark, dark color, like I'm gonna go with this navy blue. So you'd use a dark color here, and then you'd go slightly lighter in that same color range. So I'm gonna go with like this turquoise next to it. And then I'm going to go to the next color up, which is this light blue. Okay, so I'm feathering it from dark blue through kind of a medium color of blue to a light blue. And I'm doing the blending, the feather blend in between those two colors like that. This gives it a feeling like you would see on a feather, honestly. A slight gradation of color as you move through it. And you may want to go all the way up to this light. I'm going to put the light in a little more. You can always add with your chalk. Then I'm going to go back to the medium and back to the dark up here. All right, and then I'm going to blend these. And you can see up close, it's like kind of like a feather. It's called feather blending. It's very similar to color blending, but you're going in a gradation of the same color group, okay? And it gives it a sense of shading, okay? So it would make it look like a blue bug, let's call it bug wing, and the light would be hitting right there, okay? So that's feathering. The next technique is very fun. It's called pointillism. Pointillism is tiny dots. Tiny dots, tiny dots. And you're not hitting your paper hard because your chalk will not survive that. But you are putting tiny dots of color down. So here's orange. And then I'm going to come back in with some pink. And what you get again is a textured feeling. The color is blending on your paper, but I'm going to go with red next. It's a different effect. It really looks cool. Oh, I wish you could see it. Really cool. Here, I'm going to bring it up to you. So that, I just blended 3 colors, did not blend them, sorry. I used pointillism to layer yellow dots, then a pink dot, and then a red dot on top. And the effect is like a little firework. It's gorgeous. So here is pointillism. And our last technique we're going to try today is just creating patterns with line as you color in a space. So let's say I want to color a space here on my black paper, and I am going to use a technique called line or pattern line. And that means I could color in a part of, let's say, my bug with repeating lines, but in a pattern. Maybe I do 2 blue, 1 yellow. And then that's how I would color in an entire section, is through pattern lines. And you could do this, oh, let me get that up. You could do this in a large space, and over the extent of that space, that color would just really be poppy. And you could do more than 2 colors, of course. So here we have blending, we have little strokes, feathering, pointillism, and lines or patterns with chalk. So you can see my hand gets pretty yucky when you work with chalk. So that's why it's nice to have this paper towel next to me. So those are the techniques that I think you could use on your bug project, and it would be super pretty if you tried a little bit of all 5. So let's get to work on our bug project. That'll be our next video.